This is a YouTube recording for both Jackson and Ryan. You'll have your individual lessons in just a minute, but I thought that it might be helpful if we went over a little bit of the ear training stuff for your test, and might as well do that only once. So we're going to cut right to it. That's one of the nice things about YouTube. We just get right to what we need to work on. I'm going to close down my key cover here and switch to my other camera. There we go. So we can kind of look at this ear training thing together if it'll stop cutting in and out. It's like it has a heartbeat. It's frustrated, huh? Let's see if we can get it. Ah, earthquake. Let's see if we can do a little better there. That's a little bit better. Okay, so I know that we talked a little bit about this last week. Maybe if I put my hand on it, it'll stop. Yeah, that's better. But we're just going to kind of go over it again, just so that you're certain. I'm looking for a pencil to show you with. Never use a pen, but it's at hand for me. Okay, so remember that on this ear training, you're going to hear 4 measures of rhythmic dictation, right? Fill in the blank measures, okay? So I'm just going to go over here to the answer key, scroll up here. Okay, so we're just going to kind of step through this. You're going to hear it and it's going to go 1, 2, 3, tick, 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 and then something, tick, 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 something. Remember that it is 3, 4, okay? 3 means that if you only hear one note at the last, that is not a whole note. Don't put the whole note because that would be worth 4. Put the dotted half note. And remember, the last measure is usually just 1 or 2 notes, okay? Try not to make it overcomplicated. It's not that hard for the rhythm so far, okay? So, this is the rhythm that you would be hearing. You would hear note, 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 note. Okay? What I recommend that you do is make a little mark. When you're hearing it, you'd hear la, 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 la. Okay, so I made a mark when I heard a note. La, 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 la. Because then it's easier to go back later and actually put in the rhythm. Since we only have one thing in the last measure, we know that that's what it's going to be. Okay, the dotted half note we were talking about. In this one's case, remember they're going to play just the first 2 measures for you, right? So you're going to have 1, 2, 3. Think 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3, and. Okay. So keep that 1, 2, 3. You can tap your leg, you can tap with your fingers, but keep that beat, right? And then you can just go back and fill it in. 1, 2, 3, and. Okay? All right, just like that. Hopefully that will help you out for this one. Question number 19, you're going to hear different sets of intervals. I'm not going to work the whole question with you. I'm just going to give you a way of thinking about it, okay? it's either going to be fifths or seconds. So fifths sound pretty open. Think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 5. Okay, that's pretty far apart. Versus seconds. 1, 2. All right. So if you hear something like twinkle, twinkle, that's the 5. Okay. If you hear it descending, going the other direction, like it's do or do, that's do. Pop goes the weasel. So if you hear twinkle twinkle little star or pop goes the weasel, it's the 5th. If you hear do or do, and it sounds like a note stepping up or stepping down, that's the 2nd. Okay? In terms of the piano, as it comes back into focus, pop goes the weasel. Must be the 5th, right? Or twinkle, twinkle, little star. It's really high for me, okay? If you hear, then that's the 2nd. Or, okay, and it also clashes quite a bit where the 5th doesn't, okay? So keep that in mind when you're looking at question 19. We'll let it zoom back in again. For question number 20, it's whether or not the first sound you hear, the first sound you hear is major or the second sound you hear is major. So if you hear the happy sound first, circle 1. That one's sad, so circle 1. The happy was the first thing that I heard, right? And then I heard sad. And if you hear sad first, but number 2, you hear happy, circle number 2, whichever one is the happy one, okay? Remember with the melodic dictation, like we talked about last time, that it's only going to go up or down by a step, and that it's not worth that many points, okay? So it's going to do... That was the example for this test, right? And when you hear it, just like with the rhythm one, put a mark when you hear a note. 1 and 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So that way you'll have the rhythm set down, and rhythm is part of the points for this question, right? So now we've got the rhythm set down. Then remember that it's only going to go higher or lower by step. Okay, and remember that I recommended these little hash marks instead of filling in the whole note, because then you can change it more quickly, right? So you've got your rhythm down here in the little marks, and then you've got your little hash marks. And so you can sit there when you're sure and actually write your notes in. Okay, because I know we worked on this last week. All right, so that's how that one works. Hopefully that will help remind you. Remember also that when we're going up by fifths for the bonus question, that you count C. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The next letter is a G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The next letter is a D. And then you do so in reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So that's how that works. So hopefully that'll be a good reminder and some tips as you go through that. So that's what I recommend that you practice. Just kind of get the hang of making those little marks and everything. And that should help both of you out. If you have any questions, let me know because the test is Saturday. I think that last week I told you were going to have an extra week in between, and then I double checked. So this is your last lesson before that theory test. So make sure that you're doing those things, that you're working on them so that you can be prepared. Also remember that if something crazy happens and you don't even pass this time, you can retake it for $5 in the spring. So it's not an all or nothing, but it is nice to do the best that you absolutely can. Okay, so I'm not suggesting that you cut corners or anything like that. Just do your very, very best. So your priority is working on the theory test this week. You need to take either the 2016 test or the 2017 test. Just sit down and take the whole test. Have your mom scan it and send it to me. Please do that before Friday so that way I can have time to actually look at it. And frankly, the sooner you get to it, the better. Because if there's a problem, then I can message you back and I can say, watch that video or fix this. And if you're sending it to me Friday night and you're going to take the test Saturday morning, that's not really going to work for you. And it's not really going to work for me either. Okay? So make sure that you take it sooner rather than later so that you have time to practice anything that you're having trouble with. Be very, very careful and reread all the questions. Make sure you're answering them correctly. So far, the tests that I've gotten back from students have crazy errors. They just didn't read the question completely. So make sure that you are doing that. Okay? On to your lesson songs. Good luck with the test. I look forward to seeing your tests in my email inbox so that I can grade them for you and we'll make sure that you're all good to go. See you later. Bye.